In what Ukrainian soldiers are calling one of the most intense engagements of recent months, Russian forces launched a full-scale assault in the Toretsk direction after weeks of probing attacks by smaller units. The attempt to break Ukrainian lines was met with fierce resistance and ultimately resulted in a decisive defensive victory. The engagement began early in the morning when reconnaissance units from Ukraine's 3rd Mechanized Battalion detected 2 heavily fortified Russian tanks advancing with infantry toward frontline positions. Described by Ukrainian troops as sewn up with improvised armor, the tanks were transformed into near-mobile bunkers, signaling Russia's intent for a more aggressive push. However, Ukrainian defenders were prepared. Units from the 28th Motorized Rifle Brigade, supported by adjacent formations, responded swiftly. Despite the tanks' reinforced protection, the defenders' combined firepower ranging from FPV, first-person view, drones and bomber units to AI-enhanced aerial drones proved devastating. As the Russian tanks attempted to maneuver along forest belts to safely deploy infantry, Ukrainian drone operators delivered pinpoint strikes. According to frontline reports, most of the Russian assault troops were either neutralized before dismounting or eliminated shortly after. One of the attacking tanks was set ablaze and rendered inoperable, while the second was completely destroyed.
Пострел!
Our guys hit them hard, and hit them smart, said one Ukrainian soldier who participated in the defense. Those tanks looked like mobile bunkers, but even bunkers can burn. And when they started scattering into the trees, we were already waiting. According to reports from the field, enemy infantry attempted to disperse and exploit tree lines to avoid clearings in open areas. However, the forest offered no cover. One drone operator described it as a drone swarm hunt, a coordinated attack on landing points that disorientated Russian forces. Despite their reinforced plating, the tanks didn't survive long. One was hit multiple times by FPV drones and eventually burst into flames, its crew abandoning the vehicle before being captured or killed. The second tank tried to reverse and take a more concealed route only to be ambushed by an anti-tank missile team and obliterated. By the end of the battle, the Ukrainian side reported 0 breaches of their defensive line and confirmed destruction of both enemy tanks, along with at least 2 platoons worth of infantry eliminated. It was hell a real test of nerves and skill, said Hrom, a drone operator from the 28th Brigade. But we worked as a team. Everyone was in sync: scouts, drone pilots, riflemen. That's why we stopped them cold. Another soldier added, "It's clear the Russians thought they'd break us with brute force. Instead, they walked into a wall of resistance. They still think it's 2022 we've evolved." Military analysts note that the engagement in the Toretsk direction reflects Russia's increasing desperation to break through fortified lines using outdated tactics combined with improvised upgrades. In contrast, Ukraine's use of modern drone warfare, battlefield intelligence, and decentralized command structure is showing significant effectiveness. The victory at Toretsk not only halted a major assault, but served as a message. Ukrainian lines are holding and striking back harder than ever. Still, soldiers caution that more attacks are likely. "The enemy won't stop unless he's made to," said one veteran sergeant. "But this battle proves he can be stopped, and we'll keep doing it." Though the encounter ended in a clear Ukrainian victory, troops acknowledged the cost and intensity of the fighting. "It was good but difficult," one soldier added. "The enemy won't stop by himself, but he can be stopped, and we are doing just that." The battle marks a turning point in the Toretsk direction, demonstrating both the resilience of Ukrainian forces and the increasing role of advanced drone warfare on the battlefield. With morale bolstered and the line held, Ukrainian units remain vigilant against future escalations. Citing data collected by the Warspotting Project, an open-source monitor of Russian military losses, Dialogue.ua noted that the number of Russian tanks lost in the war zone hit an all-time low in May 2025, not because they were being better protected, but because they simply no longer exist. Then, a few weeks later, the Ukrainian Defense Ministry's main Directorate of Intelligence, GUR, reported that due to the large-scale, irretrievable losses of weapons and military equipment sustained during the war against Ukraine, Russia had been forced to deploy obsolete tanks to theater due to a lack of their modern equivalents, or even comparatively up-to-date Soviet-era combat vehicles. In particular, the GUR noted that 1960s-era T-62 tanks were being readied for combat at a repair plant in Russia's far eastern Zabaykalsky region, before being deployed to western Russia from the Eastern Military District. The technical condition of most of these vehicles, according to the GUR, was unsatisfactory, as they had been stored outdoors for decades, without ever being serviced. As of the start of July, according to Russian news analysis, Russian warehouses only contained 251 reserve tanks judged to be in good condition, another 1,804 tanks in poor condition, and another 1,287 tanks deemed only suitable for spare parts.
Один огонь.